AJ would be ready to fight on the 23rd. So I reached out to Ngannou's team yesterday, and we just need to know if Ngannou's an option.
Charlotte Daly here with Male Sport Boxing. I'm joined by Eddie Hearn ahead of a really exciting weekend. Now, I spoke to you a couple of days ago and you promised that Monaco was going to be grand, and this is seriously grand. It's incredible. It's
a really fun event. I mean, quite unique. Like when you turn on the TV, I think most fans are thinking, what is going on there? Like 300 people all in tuxedos drinking champagne. It's like something out of James Bond mixed in with, a brilliant fight card. You've got royalty there, you've got the high rollers, and I loved the fight card on Saturday night. I think 4 tremendous fights, and a great turnout of the weigh-in as well, really good atmosphere. In fact, a lot of people have actually flown over without tickets that are going to be just waiting for the fighters to come out on Saturday. So a unique event and can't wait.
In terms of the event itself, I've heard some rumours that on the night, so the ring's obviously in the casino, but you can kind of head off, do a bit of betting and then kind of come back and watch it. Is that right?
Yeah, the high rollers, maybe between fights, will be going to, make a large deposit on the roulette tables. And yeah, like you say, when you go in there, you just look, wow, grand chandeliers everywhere, poker tables around, and baccarat and bars, and it's really unique and great to be back here. We were running 4 events here annually in a row. COVID restricted us from coming here, but back now with probably the best fight card we've delivered here so far.
And just in terms of events, Matchroom have this unbelievable run at the moment. I think it's 14 weeks in total. You've obviously come from Cancun, you're now here in Monaco. What would you say the best venue you've ever hosted a fight in is?
I mean, for me, I love Madison Square Garden. I think it's the Mecca of boxing, and although AJ Ruiz didn't go our way, it was an unbelievable night, and Taylor Serrano, probably one of my favourite nights. You got Wembley Stadium, Spurs was incredible, Dallas Cowboys, we sold out for Canelo against Billie Joe Saunders. Something special about the MGM Grand and T-Mobile in Vegas here, but I think I will always go Madison Square Garden. I think, plonked in the middle of New York City, just a venue steeped with history, and every time we promote a show there, it's a real honour.
And just to put you on the spot now, if you could make any fight in history at Madison Square Garden, who would it be?
Well, if I could make any fight in history, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter where it is. It's just Ben Eubank at the moment. So that's one. But, I think, maybe Joshua against Wilder. I think that fight could well land in America, but we'll see what happens. But, the main arena there really warrants a mega night and a mega fight. And when you get it right, there's nothing quite like it.
Okay, before we touch on Ben and Joshua, I want to talk about this weekend. Now, it's been quite nice at the weigh-in and the press conference, but it's kind of Ramla Ali that is looking like it's going to be the most fiercely contested in terms of, we saw them at the press conference, fists were up, they're going head-to-head, I think a bit of pushing and shoving. What do you make about the fact that Ramla Ali is jumping straight back into the rematch?
Incredibly gutsy, I mean, she was winning the first fight until she decided to start trading with Guzman, and that led to a heavy knockout, and it's very gutsy to go back into a rematch after getting knocked out. So she's trained hard with Manny Robles. I think she's a favourite in the fight, but Guzman now, after the last knockout, just has that extra bit of confidence to walk her down and try and land those big shots. So that's definitely one you're going to be watching through your fingers on Saturday night, and a massive fight for Ramla Ali's career, and deserves a lot of credit for jumping straight back in.
And obviously Joe Cordina headlining the bill, really excited for that one. We spoke a little bit about it before, but having heard from Joe this week now, he's adamant that he's not overlooking Vasquez.
Yeah, because there's so many huge nights ahead for him. I think Joe is the best super featherweight in the world. He's proved that twice back-to-back, the knockout of the year against Agawa and the fight of the year against Rakimov as well. This will be a similar fight to the Rakimov fight. Vasquez will come and bring it. Him and his father in the corner, like dreaming of winning a world title. They won't stop for 12 rounds unless Joe can stop him. So going to be a high-paced fight, going to be a really exciting fight, and hopefully Joe comes through and then lands those big fights in 2024.
Talking of those big fights, Barry Jones has said it multiple times that he wants that Lee Wood fight with Cordina. Is that something that you'd look for next?
Yeah, I think Joe makes no secret of, I just want the biggest fights out there, the biggest fight for my legacy, the most amount of money, and a Lee Wood fight at the City Ground would be a big fight. I'd also like to see Joe fight the other champions, because I think he can prove he's the best in the division. But like I said, any fight that's a huge fight and a huge moment for Joe Cordina is the plan, but obviously he must get through Saturday first.
Okay, and we did talk about Fury and Ngannou a little bit the other day, but it's still a talking point at the moment. One of the biggest things is that people are a bit frustrated that he cancelled the press conference afterwards. And obviously you've had experience with AJ before, you know, I think he did a press conference with concussion, he broke down in tears next to you. What's kind of the line with that in terms of protecting the fighter and taking them out of that situation, but also letting them have their say and fulfilling those kind of requirements?
You know what, I think, look, I understand why a fighter wouldn't do a press conference, but when you put yourself in that position like Fury did in that kind of exhibition style fight, and you make the media engage with you and sell the fight and help you make a load of money, I don't like the look of just going, no, I ain't going to, you know, I'm not going to see them. I get it as well, and emotions always run high after a fight. The two incidents that you talk about, I actually said to Anthony Joshua, don't do the press conference after the Ruiz fight, not after the Usyk fight, but after the Ruiz fights, because the doctor said to him, you've got concussion, like, you shouldn't do the press conference. And he just said, I think it's a terrible look. Like, I can't bring all this media out here, you know, swan around when I'm winning and I get beat and then I just say, no, screw him. So he went up, he did it. The Usyk one was more difficult to deal with because obviously he had the episode in the ring. But again, same thing. Once he calmed down backstage and did his drugs test, he was like, look, they've all come out to Saudi Arabia. Sometimes the best thing to do is to face the music and just hold your hands up. And listen, some of the interviews that Fury did, I think, I like it's me, it's on me. Don't blame anyone else. I did this, you know, etc. And so respect to him. In my opinion, he should have gone. And really in that position, it's down to the promoter to gauge the situation and say, listen, mate, I think you should go. So we don't know if Frank Warren said, listen, I think it'd be good, considering what you've been paid, to do this press conference. Or Frank went, listen, don't worry about it, I'll go and deal with them. But for me, in that position, it's not like he got knocked out. And he won, by the way. So you'd think you'd go and face the music.
December 23rd is a date that is flying around at the moment. There's a lot of talk about potentially AJ fighting on December 23rd. Is that going to be Ngannou?
I'd be surprised. I mean, I have heard that the Saudis are looking to do a show on December 23rd. We've had some approaches to our own fighters about fighting on a card out there on the 23rd. So we'll have to see. It's 7 weeks on Saturday. It's a very fast turnaround. And I can't see it, but, you know, AJ would be ready to fight on the 23rd. So I reached out to Ngannou's team yesterday, and, you know, we just need to know if Ngannou's an option for us moving forward. If not, we'll continue with our original plan. But it's a massive fight. It's the biggest fight out there for Francis Ngannou, other than the Fury rematch, which he can't take. So we'll have to see.
And other names that have been swirling around, there's been Andy Ruiz, Hrgovic, Deontay Wilder, of course. Deontay Wilder even took to social media to kind of beg Anthony Joshua to do the fight and get it on. Has there been any more communications? Where are we at in terms of their chat with that fight?
Just really putting the options together for the venues and the money to report back to both fighters. I think, you know, we agreed a deal for January. It didn't come off, so we now look at March or April. And really, USA is an option for that fight, but also we've had approaches from other countries to stage the fight, and it's our job to go through those approaches and put the numbers together, put them to the fighters, and then see what they want to do.
So we could potentially see AJ out in December against someone,
or in January,
and then maybe in March or further on, then we'll get the Wilder fight.
Yeah.
Okay, well that would be good to see. In terms of Conor Benn, he's actually here today supporting Joe Cordina. Where are we at with that? I mean, I think a couple of days ago you said about 7 days we should hear about an announcement with the Chris Eubank.
We're in a good place. We're just finalising our agreement with Conor Benn for that particular fight. Calla is doing the same with Chris Eubank. And once everybody's happy, we can move forward with the fight. We've got the venue standing by for January 27th and February the 3rd. So I don't think it'll be too long now, subject to getting those final deals over the line, but pretty much ready to go.
Chris Eubank Sr. isn't a fan of the fight, we know that. He said that he thinks it's dangerous for Conor to step up to 160. He also said that it could be detrimental for his career. What do you kind of make of those comments?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, he said it was dangerous for his son to take the fight at 157. So now we're only moving up £3 to give Chris Eubank the right to fight at 160. You know, obviously Chris Eubank Sr. is now representing Harlem Eubank, so he's pushing Harlem Eubank for the fight, which is all a bit bizarre. But we're just focused on Ben Eubank and hopefully, or Eubank Ben, and hopefully we can get that announced next week.
Oh God, not that whole argument about who goes first. And also we heard about Billie Joe Saunders coming back. he's notoriously quite hard to manage, or so people say. How do you deal with those like big personalities?
He's, I say he's grown up. I mean, I think he's had a bit of time off. He's come back, not chilled, he's focused, but you know, we want to give him the time to be physically ready to fight. He was going to go on December 23rd, but obviously now we know that might not happen. He'll look to actually go on a Ben Eubank card. It'll give him that extra month as well to get down to the weight he needs to be at. So I think he's got a big future. You know, if Eubank was to beat Ben, Saunders against Eubank is massive. We think Conor Benn will take care of that, but you never know in the fight. And there's big fights out there for Billie Joe. He's a special talent, and we look forward to seeing him back in the ring.